I cheered when my lover shoved my husband. 30 seconds later, I was speechless. It happened so fast. A scream, a fall, a sound like bones cracking against marble, and then silence. I remember standing there, frozen between them, my husband, Daniel, lying at the bottom of the stairs, and my lover, Ethan, staring at his trembling hands like he didn't recognize them. For a heartbeat, I thought I'd imagined it, that it was one of those fevered daydreams I'd had for months, where one man disappeared so I could finally breathe. But the blood spreading beneath Daniel's head was too real, too red, too final. And I cheered. It slipped out of me before I could stop it, a small, twisted sound that might have been relief, or joy, or madness. Ethan looked up at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had, because in that single moment, I thought I was free. I thought the past had been erased, the pain buried with his last breath. I thought love, the dangerous, selfish kind, had won. But I was wrong. 30 seconds later, I saw something that made the floor fall out from under me, something that turned victory into horror. 3 months earlier, I'd met Ethan at a charity gala, a man with the kind of smile that disarmed logic and reason. Daniel had been too busy that night, as always. Deals, calls, deadlines. My husband collected companies, not moments. Ethan was different. He listened, he noticed, he made the world smaller when he looked at me. I told myself it was innocent. It never is. The first touch came weeks later, the back of his hand brushing mine as he handed me a drink. Electricity. The kind that wakes up everything you thought had died inside you. By the time I realized what I'd done, I was already too deep. Daniel had stopped looking at me years ago. I was part of his house, polished, controlled, expensive. A reflection, not a person. Ethan made me feel like a person again, like a secret. But guilt is clever. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It whispered when I smiled at my husband. It whispered when I lied about late meetings. It whispered louder every night Ethan held me. Still, I didn't stop until Daniel found out. It wasn't rage when he confronted me. It was worse. Calm, calculated, cold. He simply said, "I already knew." And in that tone, that unbearable calm, I understood I was in danger. Not physical, psychological, the kind that destroys you slowly. Because Daniel wasn't a man who reacted, he planned. For weeks, I lived in quiet dread. Daniel's kindness turned surgical. His silence turned heavy. He'd start sentences and never finish them, smile in ways that chilled my spine. And Ethan? He grew restless, paranoid. He wanted me to leave. "Come with me," he'd say. "Tonight, we'll disappear." But I couldn't, not yet. Daniel had too much power. My finances, my reputation, my name. I was trapped. I started noticing things. A phone call that went dead when I answered. A strange car outside the house, always the same. An unlocked drawer I knew had been closed. Daniel was watching me, studying me. And then, one night, I found the file, hidden behind his office books. My photos. Ethan's apartment. Our messages printed out. A list of dates, times, locations. He'd known everything. I didn't sleep that night. Ethan wanted to go to the police. I wanted to confront Daniel, end it. But Daniel was 10 steps ahead. Always. When I woke up the next morning, Ethan's number was blocked. His apartment? Empty. Gone. Vanished without a trace. Panic clawed up my throat. I drove to his favorite cafe, his gym, even the hotel where we'd first met. Nothing. And then a message came from Daniel. "You should choose better company." That was the first time I realized Ethan's safety depended on me. So I played the perfect wife again. I smiled, cooked, laughed, and waited. Until that night, The night everything exploded. Daniel came home early. He said he wanted to talk. We sat across the dinner table, wine untouched, candles flickering. His voice was steady, too steady. "Do you love him?" The question felt surgical, precise. I didn't answer. "He thinks you do," he continued, "but he doesn't know who you really are, does he?" Something inside me snapped. "And who am I, Daniel?" He smiled faintly. "A survivor, just like me." Then he slid a small envelope across the table. My blood ran cold. Inside, photos. Not of Ethan and me, of Daniel and another woman. The woman was my sister, the same sister who'd vanished 5 years ago, the one Daniel said had moved abroad. My hands shook as I flipped through each image. Her face, her arms around him, the date stamps, all during our marriage. "You see," he said quietly, "we all lie to survive. You had your affair, I had mine. We're even." But we weren't, because one of the photos, the last one, showed her in this house, this dining room, and the timestamp, the night before she disappeared. I looked at him then, and I knew. She didn't move abroad. She never left. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I smiled. And then I called Ethan, from Daniel's phone. He arrived within minutes, storming through the door, wild and desperate. Daniel stood calmly, glass in hand, a predator watching 2 smaller animals tear each other apart. Ethan didn't plan to hurt him, I know that. He just wanted to scare him, to get me out. But Daniel knew exactly which buttons to press. "You think she loves you?" he sneered. "She's using you to punish me. That's all she knows how to do." Ethan lunged. Daniel laughed. And then came the shove. I didn't stop it. Daniel's foot slipped. His head hit the stairs. Silence. I cheered. I shouldn't have, because when Ethan turned to me, there was something in his eyes. Not love, not horror, something else. Recognition. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded letter, handwritten, old. "He told me to give you this," Ethan whispered, "if anything ever happened." It was Daniel's handwriting. I opened it with shaking hands. "By now, you've both done exactly what I wanted. My insurance policy is complete. The police will find everything they need. Texts, threats, photos, all pointing to Ethan. And you, my dear wife, will be the grieving widow, complicit by silence. I win, even in death." The blood drained from my body. And then, the sound of sirens. They ruled it as an accident, for Daniel at least. Ethan wasn't so lucky. His prints, his history, the letter, everything worked against him. He went to prison for manslaughter. I didn't visit, because by the time the trial ended, I'd already found what Daniel had hidden, a USB drive buried behind the wall safe. Videos, confessions, my sister, drugged, frightened, Daniel's voice in the background, proof of everything. I sent it anonymously to the police. They reopened her case. His reputation crumbled posthumously. He'd won the battle. I'd taken the war. Now, when I stand at the edge of our old staircase, I can still see the faint stain in the marble. I can still hear that sickening silence. And I can still taste that first breath of freedom, metallic and wrong. Love doesn't free you, it traps you. Until you learn to play the game colder than the one who built it. I did. And sometimes, at night, I think I see my sister's face in the mirror, smiling.
How could you do this?